Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. A little late getting the video out this morning. I was busy. We've been in a cycle of calls. I don't know what it is. I've never been able to figure this out, but it's interesting how certain types of calls seem to almost go in cycles. And right now we're on a motor vehicle accident cycle, I guess, because you can go days or weeks without really having anything, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. And last night, early this morning, anyways, everyone amazingly, in both the last two I've worked, were in pretty good shape. I will have to say this is not an endorsement for anything, but if you're wanting a vehicle, if you have the money to go buy a new expensive vehicle and you want one that's gonna handle a pretty heavy impact, Cadillac Escalades, I was quite impressed. That thing took a beating, rolled multiple times, ended up upside down, but actually very little crushing damage to the vehicle, and the passengers were all okay. So anyways, the Russia thing is getting bigger and I guess hotter, if you want to put it that way. Germany has conducted their investigations, and this is a little old news, few days old, but they've determined that Ukraine definitely was the culprit of the Nordstream pipeline explosion. They definitely did this, and it was under the direction of the leadership of Ukraine. And they've cut off all military funding and other funding to Ukraine, and they're very upset with them. They're actually trying to figure out a way, I guess, to punish them for that. It's interesting that Russia, which is not a big surprise, Russia is saying that there is no possible way that Ukraine did this on their own, that they believe completely, I don't know if they have evidence, but they believe completely that the United States was involved in this. As much as I don't really want to, I tend to agree with that. I can't imagine Ukraine pulling this thing off on their own. So this is adding a whole new layer. Not that it's surprising to any of us. Most of you probably assumed that this was the case, right? But now it's become official. So it's not just a suspicion. It's official. And so that's going to very possibly change some things. Russia says that they've run out of patience and that they're not interested in any kind of talks. They only want action against Ukraine. The world's just waiting for that action to happen. There's now been 3 bridges in Russia that Ukraine has bombed and destroyed. A couple, at least 1 or 2 of these bridges are very critical bridges for, the only way to get into a certain area kind of thing. So, again, we're just waiting for that. We're waiting to see what happens. Is Russia have some big thing up its sleeve, or are they waiting for Ukraine to just get into the right place so that they can do something? I don't know. This one, I'll admit, this one has me a little uncertain of what's really going on, because throughout the war so far, it has been the general appearance that Russia has been kind of overwhelming, for the most part, Ukraine. If it wasn't for Ukraine getting all kinds of weapons from the West, that this war wouldn't have lasted anywhere near as long as it has. And Ukraine has been talking about how they're running out of troops. They're recruiting and women and old people and all this kind of stuff. And then now all of a sudden, Ukraine is making pretty significant incursions into Russia, and Russia's defending themselves, but not really taking the attack on Ukraine. So we'll see what happens with that. Who knows? It's possible that Russia's waiting for the right time and moment so that they can turn the tides on NATO. I don't know. Remember, with Russia, they're an old country. They've been in a lot of wars, and they can handle taking a lot of casualties and still coming out on top. So they're not like, I guess you could say, the Germans or even the United States when it comes to very quick, shock and awe, blitzkrieg, that kind of warfare. They drag it out really long but end up usually doing a lot of damage in the course of time. Iran, Israel, I mean, is it at the point that we're just kind of giving up on that? Right now, it looks like the war is mostly focused on Israel and Lebanon. Hezbollah says that they're going to make their move on Israel without Iran's help, but they haven't really. I mean, it's been an increase, but it's not been any kind of big increase. So we'll see what happens there. I think the big focus right now is well, back here in the United States, you know, we've got monkeypox popping up all over the world. I haven't seen any confirmed cases yet here in the United States again. But we also have the Democrat National Convention starting today. So I'm sure that'll be a big super spreader event for monkeypox. You know, they're doing abortions for free and vasectomies for free and probably handing out monkeypox for free. Some of the drug companies are saying that they're expected to produce millions and millions of monkeypox vaccines over the next year. So is this the thing? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to twist it a little bit to make it work for it to be a big global pandemic that would truly affect everyone and be dangerous for everyone. A lot of people suspect that it may actually just be smallpox. All the symptoms, at least, that are being presented and that people are aware of, actually come across as looking like either smallpox or potential shingles from, you know, like what you would get if you had chicken pox and then later on you get shingles. So it could be one of those two, actually. So there's all kinds of suspicions going on about what is actually happening with it. Will we ever know the truth? Probably not for years. All in all, what really is going on is we're just watching things just continually spiral. And maybe we're in a period right now over the last several days that seem to be a slowdown period, right? And I've talked about this many times where it seems as if things kind of peak for a little bit and then they kind of come down off of that peak and they slow down a little bit. It doesn't seem like the world is right at the edge of collapse and destruction right now. But most certainly that will happen again. There's follow a couple of people online that are, you know, big economic and market experts, and they're saying that they believe we're just a couple of weeks away from another big hit to the stock market. I don't know. What I would advise for people is to take this time to kind of regroup, maybe take a little time for yourself and your family, but don't stop your preparations. Just because you hit a slow period, a lot of people tend to say, oh, well, you know, the world is not ending today, so I can kind of sit back and go back to my normal way of life. I would not recommend that. Yes, it's okay to take time when you need it, but I would not recommend just thinking that things are normal again and that maybe it was an overreaction and that we can just go back to normalcy. We need to be pushing ourselves every day to do at least a little something to get ourselves a little bit more prepared. Whether it's going to the grocery store and buying something that's on sale to stock up on, developing a new skill, going over your equipment, doing something on your homestead to be a little bit more self-sufficient, you know, repairing something, building a fence, building another chicken coop, expanding that, working on a water system, water purification, whatever it is. You know, as crazy as it sounds, winter is coming. You know, I know it's still summer for most of you. But what are your preparations for that? You know, do you have wood put away if you burn wood? What if it's propane? Whatever your heat source is, do you have ample amounts to get you through the winter? Are your vehicles ready for winter? Is your clothing and equipment ready? Do you have plans in case power goes out and you have no electricity? That would be very difficult for a lot of us. And so having a plan in place of what to do if the grid goes down or if there's some type of attacks going on. All of these things are stuff that we need to be taking account of and focusing on, especially during these times of a down period, of a kind of a slow news day. Don't let it get you caught up in, well, it's slowed down and maybe everything's going to be okay for a while. Maybe we overreacted. Maybe World War III isn't going to happen. Maybe the election isn't going to be stolen. Maybe there isn't going to be a pandemic or economic collapse. I can't guarantee you that any of those things are happening or will happen, but we see that the world is in a downward spiral, and we know the general direction of where we're headed. And so continue pushing yourself as often as you can to become more prepared. Stay focused on developing your skills, developing your equipment, your supplies, developing the relationships that you need in your family and with your neighbors around you. And then most importantly, developing your relationship with you and the Almighty Creator in heaven. Those are the things that we need to continue pursuing, even during these times of kind of a slow period. And like I've been saying, everything is kind of set up on the chessboard right now that I fully believe that something very big and catastrophic could happen at a very quick moment's notice between, what's going on in Europe and Israel, Middle East, the economy, everything. The illegals pouring into this nation. It wouldn't take much. It's like a big old tinderbox just getting ready to go off. And so that's the big reason why we should just always stay ready. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.